So, greetings. I'm not drinking wine right now, which is kind of strange because you have all these wine bottles behind me, but it's really just to introduce you to a video of a recent dinner in Washington, D.C. with some passionate and very knowledgeable people whom I consider very good friends here in the D.C. area. This is about 5-6 years now we're getting together. I live in France, but when I come to the United States, I come here to Washington, D.C., where I'm from. And I've gotten to know some really, really nice people. And I've learned from them, too. And you'll see in this video that we tasted some older Bordeaux, really high-end Bordeaux, primarily from the 70s, but also a 1966 Mouton Rothschild, for example. We're talking high-end. A pair of 78 Bordeaux, Haut-Brion and La Mission Haut-Brion. In fact, I have the bottle of La Mission Haut-Brion 1978 from Grave, and it was called Grave back then because the Pessac-Léognan appellation hadn't yet been created. That was done in 1987. But my favorite wine of the tasting was, well, overall favorite, along with the Mouton 66. I don't have the empty bottle. Farian, one of the participants, took it back because he sourced that wine. It was a lovely wine. Was the 78 Haut-Brion, which it was very interesting to try these two because they just are across from each other, across the road in Pessac. And while Haut-Brion is considered a first growth, La Mission Haut-Brion is considered to be of the same quality as a first growth, but they're very different wines. La Mission was very intense and powerful, and the Haut-Brion was much more elegant and I would say a little more subtle and probably finer to some extent. But La Mission Haut-Brion might have more potential, it might age longer. In any case, what you're going to see in this video, which I hope you like, you'll see different aspects of when people get together and taste old Bordeaux. One of those aspects is, do we decant or do we not decant? Is there a certain freshness that needs to be given to a wine, or should we just drink it out of the bottle? Another aspect are corks. When the wines are very old, well, relatively old, such as the 66 Mouton, the cork that was pulled out with an Assaut opener, not a traditional sort of waiter's opener where you go like this and then like this and it comes out. The Assaut has two kind of prongs that go in and pull it out, and you'll see how that's done. So, and you'll see some real pleased people because we had a great time. So I hope you enjoy it.
Since we have those are also La Missions over there, aren't they?
Yes.
We've got some lovely steaks at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
But it's okay with the road meeting there. All of the steaks are garnished with a little bit of butter and parsley, so it sizzles all the way to the table, and when you cut into your steak, the butter and the parsley and the juices from the meat all combine to make kind of a sauce on the plate, so it's very delicious.
But you're going to decant it, and then, I guess my fear always is the apex of the wine happened while it was sat in the decanter.
Yeah, but
instead of in
like
my
the
glass.
5 minutes
I've started
before,
decanting.
like if you do it right before we drink it, you're concerned?
I don't know. I guess
So is that the 81,
That's
Ben?
the 81.
Yeah.
But it's pretty classic.
But do you peg both these as La Mission? That's the question.
Oh, you'd peg them as a Grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes you peg them as a Grave? I mean, what are you getting there?
Smoky.
Yeah, that's smoky.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just that sort of ultra minerally, smoky nose. I think Grave is, of all the appellations, by far the easiest to pick out. I mean, it just always has it. They all have that.
You know, sometimes I mistake them
better
for
Pomerol.
I mistake them for Pomerols myself, but
Because of the Merlot.
yeah, but
They don't have the chalk, but they almost don't have that chalky.
Right, the Pomerols tend to be so plush. You know,
Kevin, what do you think of this 81?
As I said, angular. 81 is angular. 76, I think it shows the vintage characters very well, as Ben mentioned. 76, very ripe fruit.
that's very tasty.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think 76 is a better one.
Yeah, yeah, I
sure.
agree.
You know, do you have a preference for this 278s?
These two, Haut-Brion.
Haut-Brion, yeah. Why is that?
It has more richness and depth, and all of its elements are just a little more focused. There's more diffusion on the nose of the Mission, you know, and it makes up with a fuller palate, but that doesn't really excite me as much as the singularity of the Haut-Brion.
Okay.
you know, not only is it plush, but it just seems to have like a perfect balance. Everything is just a very harmonious wine.
The Haut-Brion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
catching up. That
really
first was a
spectacular effort.
blow off.
How are we doing here with the 78s?
We're doing just great with that.
Doing great, thank you.
Very fine vintage.
Mighty fine.
So we got Haut-Brion and La Mission Haut-Brion. And the consensus is that the La Mission is a little more full-bodied, maybe a little bit more powerful, and Haut-Briond's more elegant. Is that sort of what we could say?
Elegant, complex.
That's probably fair.
I think you're almost there.
Yeah, that's true. So looks like it's good.
Thing is, that cork is just.
The corks were just totally shredded.
Angle a little, just
Matterized.
45.
The cork is deterioration.
You never know.
Is it almost up?
We got it.
I had one
It came
the
out.
other day.
It came out?
Use that now.
Yeah.
It's from a good
Great, I couldn't
seller.
really
Can I use
see.
the outside?
You know, when you're off.
1966 Mouton. Chris, what do you think of the 66 Mouton?
It's wonderful. It's one of the best examples of 66 Mouton that I've had, and I've had it many times actually.
What makes it so special?
It's in wonderful condition.
Yeah.
It's in great condition.
There's a real freshness to it, isn't
I
there?
think it was got like a bacon fat, like a bacony note.
It's very fresh. It's very alive.
Cote Mouton.
Wonderful mouthfeel.
Cote Mouton.
Where'd you get the 66 Mouton? Sorry.
I sourced from a gentleman who moved to the Middle East, basically.
Right. Well, it's surprisingly, it's really fresh and
I was worried because
and
it was just low, but I knew his seller because I drank from it earlier, and I knew the bottles showed well. I think he didn't have it since, since release because it wasn't that old.
I'm not surprised. I mean,
But
I've had.
I trusted his seller, and
variable wine.
sometimes Ullage isn't the full.
It's always been a variable wine. You can get pretty good bottles.
Thanks. Tell me about Osso. What is the challenge with Ossoing it?
That's why I don't.
Well, the Osso isn't so much of a challenge. It's actually a great way to get older corks out. Older corks tend to be fragile and crumble. So instead of putting a screw into it that often will shred the cork, you gently slide these two prongs on the outside, and once they engage, you twist it, and they come right out.
Right.
So it's just a great way to open older wines.
Right. So what do we got there? We got a Couté.
I love jam.
Chateau Couté, 1975. So Barsac from south of Bordeaux.
It's a fine.
I'm guessing mostly Sauvignon.
Let's not use
Touches
too much
Sauvignon
sugar
Blanc,
in them.
but
want
I don't know
some
for
zing
certain.
in it.